Hi, my name is Neil Renaud, and I'm an optometrist at EagleEye Performance Vision. And one of the really common problems that parents run into with their children in school is the difficulty with copying notes from the board. So I want to talk about all of the visual skills required to be really good at copying notes because it's such a visually complex task to be able to do. The first thing that children need to do is be able to see the board clearly with visual acuity. So that's just being able to have 20/20 vision, see the board clearly. Very important, but it's just one of many skills. There's also eye teaming. So are you able to look at the board, and then when you come down to your page, your eyes actually have to turn inward together as a team. And then when you finish that thought on the page, you have to turn back outward to straighten your eyes. So they're constantly coming in and out like this. Also, the next part is they need to change their focus. Kind of like a camera, you need to zoom in up close and then relax out far away. So we're constantly turning in and out and also zooming our focus in and out. And these two systems need to be working together and be really flexible and fast to keep up with fast-paced note-taking. Also, once you get your eyes where you need them to be on the target or the word, you need to be able to have good tracking skills, go across the page with really fine and accurate movements to be able to have your eyes right exactly where you need them to be and make these movements automatic and not something your brain's actually thinking about getting to the right spot on the page. Next is something called visual motor integration. So when I look up at the board and I see the words that I need to write down, that's visual information that I'm going to transfer into a motor response on the page. And this also really requires fine motor skills too. So having a good pencil grip is important. Also good handwriting, being able to write legibly, and also be able to write legibly fast, because note taking often is very fast and we see handwriting really fall apart when you have to speed up. Also with note taking, you need great visual memory and visual sequential memory, which means when I look up at the board and I see the dog jumped over the fence, I need to remember and write down the dog jumped over the fence, which I can compare that with the dog jumped over the fence. I'm sure you see a big difference there. My speed obviously is much slower, but also the context of what I just wrote down is really suffering. So when we take notes for an hour, lots of times kids don't even remember much of what they wrote down because they didn't have much context. They were just so focused on copying exactly what they saw and losing the big picture of the lesson that they were taking notes for. Also, another visual skill is called figure ground, which means when I write down my notes and then I finish my thought and I go back up to the board, I see this big background mess of information where there's tons of words on the board, and I need to find quickly exactly where I was on the board so that I can find my spot, find the next thing I need to see, and write down here. And then constantly, quickly and accurately jumping to the right spot on the board, not searching around for a couple seconds, because those seconds add up. Also, there's visual auditory processing, which means when you're taking that visual information, turning it into a motor response here on the page, simultaneously you also must be processing what your teacher's saying. When they're talking about what they're writing down up there and you're writing, you still need to be able to comprehend what's going on. So there's a lot of vision and hearing simultaneously processing together, and they need to work together, not separate. And the last one, maybe the most important for me, is visual attention. So when you're in the fourth row and someone in the third row is scratching their ear and someone in the second row is whispering something to their neighbor, and out the window you see there's balloons going across the outside on the yard, then all of these visual distractions can really impact a child where they're looking around and distracted by all these different visual stimulations and not staying on the task of, I need to see what's on the board exactly where I need to see it, and I need to write it down, and ignore all of the other visual information in my field that's not important for that task right there. So these are all of the many visual skills that are required for being a really good note taker. And as school progresses, it only gets harder, right? There's longer note taking periods in high school, and then college, lots of PowerPoints. You can be in a couple hundred people in a lecture hall with lots of distractions, and then you know, being able to use all of these skills to be a proficient note taker is going to be a huge skill all the way through college that sets you up for a great career. So if any of this was concerning for you, you or your child, I welcome you to give our office a call and schedule a free consultation where we can talk a little bit more about everything on a case-by-case basis. But thank you so much for your attention and watching this video.